Moses assembled all the congregation of the children of Israel, and said to them, "These are the words which Yahweh has commanded, that you should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be a holy day for you, a Sabbath of solemn rest to Yahweh. Whoever does any work in it shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations on the Sabbath day." Moses spoke to all the congregation of the children of Israel, saying, "This is the thing which Yahweh commanded, saying, Take from among you an offering to Yahweh. Whoever is of a willing heart, let him bring it, Yahweh's offering: gold, silver, brass, blue, purple, scarlet, fine linen, goat's hair, ram's skins dyed red, sea cow hides, acacia wood, oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil and for the sweet incense, onyx stones, and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate. Let every wise-hearted man among you come and make all that Yahweh has commanded: the tabernacle, its outer covering, its roof, its clasps, its boards, its bars, its pillars, and its sockets, the ark and its poles, the mercy seat, the veil of the screen, the table with its poles and all its vessels, and the showbread, the lampstand also for the light, with its vessels, its lamps, and the oil for the light, and the altar of incense with its poles, the anointing oil, the sweet incense, the screen for the door at the door of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its grating of brass, its poles, and all its vessels, the basin and its base, the hangings of the court, its pillars, their sockets, and the screen for the gate of the court, the pins of the tabernacle, the pins of the court, and their cords, the finely worked garments for ministering in the holy place, the holy garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the priest's office. All the congregation of the children of Israel departed from the presence of Moses. They came, everyone whose heart stirred him up, and everyone whom his spirit made willing, and brought Yahweh's offering for the work of the tent of meeting, and for all of its service, and for the holy garments. They came, both men and women, as many as were willing-hearted, and brought brooches, earrings, signet rings, and armlets, all jewels of gold, even every man who offered an offering of gold to Yahweh. Everyone with whom was found blue, purple, scarlet, fine linen, goat's hair, ram's skins dyed red, and sea cow hides, brought them. Everyone who did offer an offering of silver and brass brought Yahweh's offering. And everyone with whom was found acacia wood for any work of the service brought it. All the women who were wise-hearted spun with their hands, and brought that which they had spun, the blue, the purple, the scarlet, and the fine linen. All the women whose hearts stirred them up in wisdom spun the goat's hair, The rulers brought the onyx stones, and the stones to be set, for the ephod and for the breastplate, and the spice, and the oil for the light, for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The children of Israel brought a freewill offering to Yahweh, every man and woman, whose heart made them willing to bring for all the work which Yahweh had commanded to be made by Moses. Moses said to the children of Israel, Behold, Yahweh has called by name Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. He has filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all kinds of workmanship, and to make skillful works, to work in gold, in silver, in brass, in cutting of stones for setting, and in carving of wood, to work in all kinds of skillful workmanship. He has put in his heart that he may teach, both he and Aholiab, the son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan. He has filled them with wisdom of heart, to work all kinds of workmanship, of the engraver, of the skillful workman, and of the embroiderer, in blue, in purple, in scarlet, and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of those who do any workmanship, and of those who make skillful works. Bezaleel and Aholiab shall work with every wise-hearted man, in whom Yahweh has put wisdom and understanding, to know how to work all the work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh has commanded. Moses called Bezaleel and Aholiab, and every wise-hearted man, in whose heart Yahweh had put wisdom, even every one whose heart stirred him up to come to the work to do it. And they received from Moses all the offering which the children of Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, with which to make it. They brought yet to him freewill offerings every morning. All the wise men who performed all the work of the sanctuary, each came from his work which they did. They spoke to Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work which Yahweh commanded to make. Moses gave commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man nor woman make anything else for the offering for the sanctuary. So the people were restrained from bringing. For the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. All the wise-hearted men among those who did the work made the tabernacle with 10 curtains, of fine twined linen, blue, purple, and scarlet, with cherubim, the work of the skillful workmen. They made them. The length of each curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth of each curtain 4 cubits. All the curtains had one measure. He coupled 5 curtains to one another, and the other 5 curtains he coupled to one another. He made loops of blue on the edge of the one curtain, from the edge in the coupling. Likewise he made in the edge of the curtain that was outmost in the second coupling. He made 50 loops in the one curtain, and he made 50 loops in the edge of the curtain that was in the second coupling. The loops were opposite one to another. He made 50 clasps of gold, and coupled the curtains one to another with the clasps, so the tabernacle was a unit. He made curtains of goat's hair for a covering over the tabernacle. He made them 11 curtains. The length of each curtain was 30 cubits, and 4 cubits the breadth of each curtain. The 11 curtains had one measure. He coupled 5 curtains by themselves, and 6 curtains by themselves. He made 50 loops on the edge of the curtain that was outmost in the coupling, and he made 50 loops on the edge of the curtain which was outmost in the second coupling. He made 50 clasps of brass to couple the tent together, that it might be a unit. He made a covering for the tent of ram's skins dyed red, and a covering of sea-cow hides above. He made the boards for the tabernacle of acacia wood, standing up. 10 cubits was the length of a board, and a cubit and a half the breadth of each board. Each board had 2 tenons, joined one to another. He made all the boards of the tabernacle this way. He made the boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side southward. He made 40 sockets of silver under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for its 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for its 2 tenons. For the second side of the tabernacle, on the north side, he made 20 boards, and there 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board, and 2 sockets under another board. For the far part of the tabernacle, westward, he made 6 boards. He made 2 boards for the corners of the tabernacle in the far part. They were double beneath, and in the same way they were all the way to its top to one ring. He did thus to both of them in the 2 corners. There were 8 boards, and their sockets of silver, 16 sockets, under every board 2 sockets. He made bars of acacia wood, 5 for the boards of the one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the hinder part westward. He made the middle bar to pass through in the midst of the boards, from the one end to the other. He overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold for places for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. He made the veil of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen, with cherubim. He made it the work of a skillful workman. He made 4 pillars of acacia for it, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were of gold. He cast 4 sockets of silver for them. He made a screen for the door of the tent, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen, the work of an embroiderer. And the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. He overlaid their capitals and their fillets with gold, and their 5 sockets were of brass. Bezaleel made the ark of acacia wood. Its length was 2½ cubits, and its breadth 1 cubit and a half, and 1 cubit and a half its height. He overlaid it with pure gold, inside and outside, and made a molding of gold for it around it. He cast 4 rings of gold for it, in its 4 feet, even 2 rings on its one side and 2 rings on its other side. He made poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. He put the poles into the rings on the sides of the ark, to bear the ark. He made a mercy seat of pure gold. Its length was 2.5 cubits, and 1.5 cubits its breadth. He made 2 cherubim of gold. He made them of beaten work, at the 2 ends of the mercy seat. 1 cherub at the one end, and 1 cherub at the other end. He made the cherubim of one piece with the mercy seat at its 2 ends. The cherubim spread out their wings on high, covering the mercy seat with their wings, with their faces toward one another. The faces of the cherubim were toward the mercy seat. He made the table of acacia wood. Its length was 2 cubits, and its breadth was 1 cubit, and its height was 1.5 cubits. He overlaid it with pure gold, and made a gold molding around it. He made a border of a handbreadth around it, and made a golden molding on its border around it. He cast 4 rings of gold for it, and put the rings in the 4 corners that were on its 4 feet. The rings were close by the border, the places for the poles to carry the table. He made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold to carry the table. He made the vessels which were on the table, its dishes, its spoons, its bowls, and its pitchers with which to pour out, of pure gold. He made the lampstand of pure gold. He made the lampstand of beaten work. Its base, its shaft, its cups, its buds, and its flowers were of one piece with it. There were 6 branches going out of its sides, 3 branches of the lampstand out of its one side, and 3 branches of the lampstand out of its other side. 3 cups made like almond blossoms in one branch, a bud and a flower, and 3 cups made like almond blossoms in the other branch, a bud and a flower. So for the 6 branches going out of the lampstand. In the lampstand were 4 cups made like almond blossoms, its buds and its flowers, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, and a bud under 2 branches of one piece with it, for the 6 branches going out of it. Their buds and their branches were of one piece with it. The whole thing was one beaten work of pure gold. He made its 7 lamps, and its snuffers, and its snuff dishes, of pure gold. He made it of a talent of pure gold, with all its vessels. He made the altar of incense of acacia wood. It was square. Its length was 1 cubit, and its breadth 1 cubit. Its height was 2 cubits. Its horns were of one piece with it. He overlaid it with pure gold, its top, its sides around it, and its horns. He made a gold molding around it. He made 2 golden rings for it under its molding crown, on its 2 ribs, on its 2 sides, for places for poles with which to carry it. He made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. He made the holy anointing oil and the pure incense of sweet spices, after the art of the perfumer. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. It was square. Its length was 5 cubits. Its breadth was 5 cubits, and its height was 3 cubits. He made its horns on its 4 corners. Its horns were of one piece with it, and he overlaid it with brass. He made all the vessels of the altar, the pots, the shovels, the basins, the forks, and the firepans. He made all its vessels of brass. He made for the altar a grating of a network of brass, under the ledge, around it beneath, reaching halfway up. He cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of brass grating, to be places for the poles. He made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with brass. He put the poles into the rings on the sides of the altar, with which to carry it. He made it hollow with planks. He made the basin of brass, and its base of brass, out of the mirrors of the ministering women who ministered at the door of the tent of meeting. He made the court. For the south side, southward, the hangings of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits. Their pillars were 20, and their sockets 20, of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver. For the north side, 100 cubits, their pillars 20, and their sockets 20, of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. For the west side were hangings of 50 cubits, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. For the east side, eastward, 50 cubits. The hangings of the one side were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And so for the other side. On this hand and that hand, by the gate of the court, were hangings of 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. All the hangings around the court were of fine twined linen. The sockets for the pillars were of brass. The hooks of the pillars and their fillets were of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals of silver. And all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. The screen for the gate of the court was the work of the embroiderer, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twined linen. 20 cubits was the length, and the height in the breadth was 5 cubits, like to the hangings of the court. Their pillars were 4, and their sockets 4, of brass, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their capitals and their fillets of silver. All the pins of the tabernacle and around the court were of brass.